Okay, we're doing this a nighttime driving lesson. We'll see what kind of things we run into. I'm already getting off my exit, which I'm using my signal, of course. Looking in my mirror, there's a car coming. And the speed limit is 40 miles per hour on the exit. And I'm already supposed to be doing 40, and I am. So, signaling. There's no one behind me, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to signal, because if you get in the habit of signaling, you'll be fine. I got to look that way, and I got to look that way, and here comes a car, so we'll wait for him to turn. We'll check again this way and check again that way, and we'll go ahead and go. Nice little sunset over there. Okay, here we go. There's a school bus coming. No one over here coming through the stop sign. Always check where you have an intersection where you have a possibility of a car coming through that's not obeying the traffic system signals, like a stop sign or a light. You always got to be watching out for people, because they're not going to watch out for you. So, okay, we got to stop. Okay, we're looking at this direction, and we look at that direction and don't see nobody, and we proceed across. At nighttime is when animals like to start coming out, so you have to be especially careful in the evening hours, because animals are out getting ready for their where they're going to sleep tonight, and then you have night animals that go out and look for food at nighttime, and like wolves and coyotes and deer. Once it gets kind of towards the evening hour, the deer like to bed down, and if they're not in their area where they normally stay at night, they travel to it, and it may include crossing a roadway. So also, it's a good idea, although it's not raining, to have your headlights on at all times. A good rule of thumb is, whenever you're having to use your windshield wipers because it's raining, always use your headlights. Here in Missouri, it is a law that when you have to use your wipers for rain, then headlights must be on. So, there's a line right there, if you can see. That means no passing. If you have a solid yellow line, it's no passing, but since it's on the other side, it's no passing for them, because they were going around a curve that you could not see around. So we're going to have one on our side here in a little bit. So once we get up to it, I'll explain more about it, as you'll readily be able to see. Okay, we got we're going over a slight bridge, so you got to be careful, not to run off in that ditch. See, right now we have a yellow line, and it's because there's a curve up there we can't see around, so this is a no passing zone for this lane. Whenever you have a solid yellow line, like this one here, we have double solid, that means no passing in either lane. But whenever you have a solid yellow line, it means you cannot pass, okay? It has to be like it is right now. There's a solid line on the other side. Now there is no line, so this is a passing zone for both sides of the road. And I have passed someone in a no passing zone before. Sometimes you pass somebody and you run out of space, and you enter back in. You come back into the lane on a no passing spot, but that's still not legal, though. You can still get into trouble for that. So, and on the driving test, it'll say nighttime driving. You have to. In one of the questions where the road is more slippery. I can't remember the other question, but really what it is your visibility is not as good, so you can't see the road way up ahead of you. So if there's something in the road, like an animal or somebody standing in the roadway, you won't be able to see it as easily during the night. So your visibility distance diminishes at nighttime. I mean, it gets not as good, that is. You see, we have a solid yellow line right here in this curve again. It's because you can't see what's up there. So if you was going to pass somebody and all of a sudden you meet this car that's coming, it could be a bad thing. You could have a head-on collision. I'm doing 60, and if they were doing 60, that is the equivalent of hitting a brick wall at 120 miles per hour, because they're doing 60 and you're doing 60, so you add up the two speeds and it becomes the impact speed of adding up the speeds. So it'd be 120 miles per hour, which would probably send you through the windshield. Even if you had your, you wouldn't survive, okay, more than likely, because your airbag would go off. You'd be pretty banged up, and that is for sure. I'm coasting downhill, and normally I'd be on cruise control, but I forgot to put cruise control on. You don't always have to have cruise on, but if you're on long straightaways or on a long trip, it's nice. But sometimes you can forget that your cruise is on, and you're expecting the car to slow down, and it's not, and all of a sudden you say, oh dang, my cruise is on, I got to hit the brakes. All you have to do to release the cruise control is either turn it off or just tap the brakes one time. Tapping the brakes turns the cruise in standby mode. So you'll remember that. See, right here is a long stretch of road with nothing in there, and I got to keep watching because there could be an animal wanting to cross the road. If you happen to hit a raccoon, it could really do some damage to your car. And remember, always be looking for buzzards that are sitting in the roadway or on the side of the road, because when you drive close to them or past them, it will spook them and they'll fly up, and they could fly into your car, and they might even hit the windshield or hit your grill and cause you to lose control if you don't panic. So that's the main thing. Do not panic. Just be aware of what's around you, and you'll do real good. Coming up to another curve, and as you can see, we have a solid yellow line. And even if there was no solid yellow line, you would know not to pass right here, because you wouldn't know what's on the other side coming downhill, coming down the other curve. So you have to be very careful that way. This trip has about another 6 or 7 minutes to go, because I'm roughly 6 miles away from our destination, which is my house. Because I just passed Roadside Park, and you know where that is. So I've been looking in the mirror occasionally, looking over there and looking over here, and here comes a car, and everything is kind of normal right now. Nothing hazardous, you might say, to speak of. So we're doing real good tonight. Be especially careful when it's raining, because your stopping distance is going to be not as good, because if you have to hit your brakes real hard, then your tires will start sliding. But your anti-lock system will cause your brake pedal to feel like you're running over a railroad track. It'll be like a real fast rumble. But don't get scared on that. But what you do is you let off the brake a little bit and press it again, and then it will help you. The anti-lock system is mainly designed to prevent the rear wheels from locking up. Because if your wheels in the back lock up because you press the brakes, that means you're gonna slide instead of stopping. Once your wheels lock up, there is no way that it's going to really slow the car down on wet pavement, especially. They'll also lock up on dry pavement if you hit them too hard. And if it's snowy or icy, you have to be very careful about following too close. You don't want to follow too close because you won't have enough reaction time. See, like if you were following someone too close and a deer run out in front of them and they had to slam on their brakes, you probably wouldn't react quick enough to stop, because probably by the time you see their brake lights come on and it registers in your mind, oh damn, I've got to stop, it's already been about 2 to 3 seconds. And remember, at 60 miles per hour or whatever speed, let's just say 60, you're doing 88 feet per second, and that's quite a few feet. And if it takes 2 seconds, that's 170 feet. That's just in 2 seconds of travel time. So you see how important it is to follow at a safe distance. And always move over if there is a police car, if you can. Like in this instance, it would be okay if there is no oncoming traffic at all, where you can safely travel in the opposite lane. You could move over about halfway into the lane just so you can clear until you clear the police car or the emergency vehicle. That way, and be sure you slow down for sure. If you cannot move over always slow down, and that's a state law in Kansas. So just be, if you see something way ahead, like you might see an Amish buggy horse and buggy being pulled, always slow down when you go past one, because you don't want to maybe scare the horse, and it cause the horse to get out of control, and it might run out in the street. And then there's usually, of course, someone driving the horse, and there could be families inside the buggy, so you have to be very careful with that. And so we're coming up to the top of the hill in Ava here, so the speed limit's 45 up the road a little bit, but I'm already off the gas, starting to coast, so that there's no need to slam on the brakes. If you just let off your gas and just coast down to speed, you don't even have to use your brakes very much. Matter of fact, I'm off the gas and I'm not on the brakes, and the light up there is red right now, and so I'm just going to coast. I'm not going to be on the gas all the way up to the last minute and then hit the brakes. It's better for your car if you, let's see, right now I'm pressing on the brakes. I'm going to get slowed down a little bit. I'm going to let off the brakes a little bit, hit them again. That way it gives them a chance to cool off, because you can crystallize your brakes if you hit them way too hard. So my flashing yellow light right there means I can turn left right now, but proceed with caution. Until there are no cars coming, I had to stop. And now I can go, because that car up in front of me, even though I don't know what he's doing, he has a signal on, but that doesn't mean that guy is going to turn. You have to be very careful about, you see a car with a turn signal, don't take it for a sure fact that they're doing what they say they're going to do by turning. You always have to watch. He was coming kind of fast, so it kind of spooked me a little bit, because I didn't think he was going to turn, but he did. But some people, they'll come up to a light or to a place doing 100 miles an hour, well, not 100, but real fast. Then they'll hit the brakes at the last minute, which is really foolish. It's not a defensive type of driving. So, and here we are at the end of the journey, and I hope that whatever we talked about will help. And I'm sure it always will, but once again, we will continue these lessons, and I will do another video about a driving test, a written test, and we'll go over some of those questions. So once again, have a wonderful night, and I hope everybody's doing good. See you later. Bye.